So my first question is, what is 24/7? And 24/7 is actually a nationwide group. Yep, the group sounds good. It actually started in Christchurch, and it is a partnership, as Richard said, between a church, a school, and a trust. And here in Morrinsville, of course, it's our church, and we are in Morrinsville College, and Ezekiel Trust is our trust that supports us. And each school in each setting, it's very different, and it's run very differently for the youth workers. It all depends on what the school's needs are. And so, Sam and Matt, each of you, can you explain to us what it is you actually do in the school? Typical youth workers.
So basically I'm in charge of trying to wrangle up the boys. So I'll come alongside and run some mentoring groups once a week for some students that the teachers have put their names forward. They may be struggling with confidence or getting in trouble a little bit more than they should. Social cues that they're sort of lacking and things like that. So one is just trying to bring out the best in them. And then, other than that, we sort of interact with the classes and come alongside them, and again just try to work with the teachers as well, the staff, let them know that we're there to sort of support them, because as you can imagine, teachers don't have an easy role these days with teenagers and their lack of, respect and everything. So, but
is what we do, so we also have the careers opportunity to go on school camps and support the staff in there. So Matt and I have just come back from Year 10 camp, which is up the Tauranga Valley, and I've also just come back from Jeep camp, which is our junior enrichment enhancement program, I think. So kind of the juniors and kind of a cool group of them. We're kind of like cheerleaders, encouragers and listeners, I think, if you had to describe us in 3 words. We kind of come along, encourage, support, and listen. We sometimes run lunchtime activities when we're onto it, try to build school spirit. And, you kind of covered it, I think. What else do we do?
The one thing I forgot to say is 24/7 is a Christian organisation. It's a Christian network, but we are not in the schools to openly share our faith. That is the way it works with our schooling system, is we're not chaplains, certainly not chaplains, but it is the way we live our lives. So we live the way these youth workers live their lives, and naturally as Christians we should be shining the love of Jesus through our actions and the things that we do. And so I would say majority of the youth, they definitely knew when I was there, and I'm sure it hasn't changed. They know that we are Christians and belong to a church, but we don't openly say that in the sense of we're not going, Jesus loves you, you need to, but we do that in a way that we actually build up relationships, and we find that the youth are drawn anyway to want to come to youth group and know more, because they can see that there's a difference in their lives, and they see that they've got something that they want.
It definitely, I sort of obviously walking around as a tattooed billboard for God sort of thing, so it definitely creates conversation, and I enjoy sort of speaking from my side of things and that when the kids are curious enough to ask. But
if they ask the questions we can answer, most definitely.
I think it's also the cool thing is we're local, so we only do Morrinsville because we live in our community. And so, like you say, most of the kids know that we are Christians, but the ones that don't soon hear about it. And I think a couple of weeks ago, I came to church and I was 10 minutes late. And I was walking up, and some of our youth from school were walking past, and they were like, "Hey, miss, you go to church?" And I was like, yeah. I was like, oh, we thought you were normal. So there's cool times like that where they have the conversation and they stop and think, oh, what does it mean to be a Christian? And it's cool because you go back in school and they ask questions and, yeah, that hands and that feet. So, yeah.
It's very true because the perception is we're weird as Christians, so it's nice that they see us as normal. So the next question is, why is it so important to have you guys in the school? Who's going to answer?
I guess today is, I guess every generation says that the last generation was different and this one's different and blah, 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 but I really do feel that today's generation of teens and youth, they face so many struggles that we didn't have as we were younger. Social media being probably the main cause of a lot of depression, bullying, all that sort of thing. These days, kids tend to think they know everything, because I'm looking at my kids, by the way, over here. So, they tend to think they know everything because social media provides such a massive platform of all sorts of information, and a lot of it is adult content that sort of non-matured minds shouldn't be seeing at this stage. So we're sort of there to try and help them guide and decipher what part of their life they're actually at, and not to rush it to become an adult and think they know everything.
Yeah, I think being someone who was in school only 4 years ago, so there's still a cohort at school when I was there, and I think the rapid change is like something we haven't seen before in past generations of how quickly things are different, and just the culture at school only 4 years later is just entirely different, and that whole thing of, kids being younger, being exposed to things, and even just I think even I kind of feel like I semi-grew up in a culture where, like you guys certainly did, but where even if you weren't a Christian, there were kind of still those morals, right? There was kind of that moral norm. There's no such thing as that for the generation that the kids at school, and so things that we kind of think are normal or kind of standard practice is just not there. And so I think we have such a cool opportunity to go in and to speak life over these kids and to encourage them. People don't, just small words like, hey man, what you're doing is real awesome, and they don't get a lot of that. And so I think, just things like actually just listening, having someone a safe space to listen and to encourage makes such a big difference for these guys who, they're in a world that's bombarded with information, and none of it really is true.
Yeah, and the counsellors at school, and I think across New Zealand in the colleges, are all over stretched is the word, would be the word that I would use, to their limits, and there's been a lot of counsellors with burnout and stuff like that, and we only have 2 at the college, 2 part-time ones, I believe, and these guys they are not counsellors, but they work very closely alongside the counsellors and kind of take the lower end of the kids who just need, as Sam said, someone to talk to, someone who has the time to sit and just listen to them and show that they care and that they're not alone in this world. And because a lot of our teenagers feel like they're alone and they're journeying, whether they are or not, that's just how they feel. So it's nice that they have these guys there.
Yeah, I think we get a sort of a different respect than what the teachers do and what the parents do. We're not there to tell them what to do and tell them off for everything, so they tend to be able to tell us a lot of things that we probably shouldn't hear. But it's good that they feel comfortable that they can talk to us about all of their struggles and the mischief they're getting up to, and again it gives us a chance to speak into their lives a little bit and help guide them, but not sort of instruct them that this is not, don't do it. So
and as you can imagine, it's pretty full on for these guys in the school. So we actually have, because we're part of a greater network, we have clusters once a term. So our Waikato, we join together with the Waikato group. There's a few schools in the Waikato, not as many as there used to be, but we're growing, so that's good. And we have a person who oversees us in the Waikato, and then we also, once a year, get together for what they call national training. So these guys went to national training where all the youth workers across New Zealand get together, and they do incredible amount of training. It's really worth it, and I just wanted to ask what impacted you guys there this year.
It's pretty good food.
Legit, it really was. The thing that I love about national training is because we're a Christian organisation, the thing that fuels us is Christ. And we go there and it's this awesome combination of learning new skills and seminars, but also worship and sermons and stuff like that. And so for myself, I just think it's really cool to be in a space where there's like-minded people and to it's almost like a recharge to focus on God again and to get that, just soak in the space, but also to network with others who have been in it for longer, have seen so much more than we've seen, and to just kind of, glean from their experiences and see what we can bring back and implement here.
Yeah, we both had to do a level 3 certificate in youth work in New Zealand, so for Sam that was easy. Sam's tackling all sorts of stuff. For me it was a bit of a drama, but got there in the end. But just the sort of information that you can learn from other peers that are in the same industry and doing this youth work, and that is it's so valuable. Just hearing different things that you don't get out of textbooks and stuff, and also just the chance to grow in your own faith even further. There's a lot of reflection and time, stuff like that just gives you, it challenges you as well. The last day they spent a good 2 or 3 hours just in a self-reflection time where you just get to go into a massive auditorium, all these different prayer stations and things like that, and they just really give you that chance to just listen to God, and He can just fill you with so much knowledge and just the courage and confidence and everything that you sort of start to lose after you don't see progress sometimes in that. So it's a bit of a long game that you're playing doing this. So sometimes when you're trying to help some of these students and you don't see them actually reacting the way you're hoping, you just have to have faith that in the long run, God will do His thing.
As a church, I'd really encourage you guys to be regularly praying for Matt and Sam. I was in the school for 5 years, and I've been team leader for 2, and it is really taxing. It can get, you can have moments where you just honestly, you pull up to the school and you're just like, I don't want to go in. I can't deal with it. With this, you don't know what you're going to face. Every day is different, and you're hearing a lot of stuff, so it's really hard to separate that when you leave. Like, that there's quite often with youth, I think, with adults, they're often in a position where they can change what's happening in their life and they can make different decisions. Our young people, just like our children, aren't necessarily in that situation. They go home to it every day. They are surrounded by it every day, and they don't have the choices to leave that until they're a lot older. Prayer is, as DMAC has said, prayer is our lifeline, and if we're not covering these guys in prayer, the enemy can really attack and get you down. And it's hard work. So support as a church on a regular basis would be great in the prayer side of things. Is there anything else you want to make? You're good? I just want to finish by saying these guys are awesome. The school loves them, absolutely loves them. But our major prayer request, I suppose, at the moment is with the changes at the school, with our new John Inga stepping away, retiring, and a new principal coming in, that the new principal will still recognise the need to have these guys in there, and will really continue that relationship that we have built up over the last 10 years now. 10 years we've been in there, with the church in the school, because it's been quite a strong relationship with John Inger, and we don't really want to see that, all the strides we've made, go backwards. So, yeah. Oh, and thank you to all who did the baking for the staff morning tea. The staff were blown away. Every time we do that, they are just so thrilled that they have the support from the church. And, yeah, it just makes their day. So thank you so much. And, yeah.